Introduction: The Wealth Divide in America. America is a land of extreme contrasts, and nowhere is that more visible than in the wealth gaps between counties within the same state. In this video, we're revealing the richest and poorest counties in every U.S. state, along with the staggering income gaps between them. Some of these differences will absolutely shock you. Based on recent U.S. Census Bureau American Community Survey estimates, the median household incomes in these counties paint a vivid picture of inequality across the nation. All figures are approximate and reflect the most recent available data. Alabama, Shelby County versus Perry County. In Alabama, Shelby County near Birmingham tops the list with a median household income of about $82,000. On the other end, Perry County in the Black Belt region struggles with a median of just $21,500. That's a gap of over $60,000, meaning Shelby County households earn nearly 4 times what Perry County households make. Alaska, Aleutians East Borough versus Kusilvac Census Area. Alaska's richest area is the Aleutians East Borough, where fishing and energy industries push median household income to around $82,500. The poorest is the Kusilvac Census Area in western Alaska, where the median sits at just $28,000. The $54,500 gap reflects the enormous challenges facing remote Native Alaskan communities with limited economic opportunities. Arizona, Maricopa County versus Apache County. Maricopa County, home to Phoenix and Scottsdale, leads Arizona with a median household income of approximately $72,800. Apache County in the northeastern corner, home to much of the Navajo Nation, reports a median of just $30,000. The gap of $42,800 highlights the stark economic divide between Arizona's booming metro areas and its rural tribal lands. Arkansas, Benton County versus Phillips County. Benton County in northwest Arkansas, home to the corporate headquarters of major retailers, leads the state with a median household income of about $72,000. Phillips County in the Mississippi Delta has a median of just $24,000. The $48,000 gap reflects the boom and bust divide between Arkansas's thriving northwest corner and its impoverished Delta region. California, Marin County versus Trinity County. California's wealthiest county is Marin County, just north of San Francisco, with a jaw-dropping median household income of $131,000. Meanwhile, Trinity County in the rural northern mountains has a median of just $38,000. That $93,000 gap is one of the largest in the nation, perfectly encapsulating California's reputation as a state of both extraordinary wealth and persistent poverty. Colorado, Douglas County versus Costilla County. Douglas County south of Denver is Colorado's crown jewel, boasting a median household income of about $117,000. Costilla County in the San Luis Valley tells a very different story at just $29,500. The income gap of $87,500 is staggering. Douglas County residents earn roughly 4 times more, reflecting the tech-driven prosperity of the Denver metro area. Connecticut, Fairfield County versus Windham County. Fairfield County in southwestern Connecticut, home to Greenwich and Stamford, has a median household income of around $101,000. Windham County in the state's northeastern corner, sometimes called the Quiet Corner, comes in at about $62,000. Connecticut's gap of $39,000 is relatively modest compared to other states, but the state overall is one of America's wealthiest. Delaware, New Castle County versus Kent County. New Castle County in northern Delaware, home to Wilmington and a hub for banking and corporate headquarters, leads the state with a median household income of about $78,000. Kent County in central Delaware has a median of around $58,000. The relatively modest $20,000 gap makes sense, given Delaware's small size and limited number of counties. It only has 3. Florida, St. Johns County versus Hamilton County. St. Johns County, just south of Jacksonville, leads Florida with a median household income of approximately $85,000. Hamilton County in the state's rural north lags far behind at around $32,000. The $53,000 gap reveals that Florida is much more than beaches and theme parks. Deep poverty persists in its rural northern communities, far from the tourist economy. Georgia, Forsyth County versus Clay County. Forsyth County in metro Atlanta dominates Georgia's income rankings with a median of about $109,000, making it one of the wealthiest counties in the Southeast. Clay County in southwest Georgia brings in a median of just $20,500, one of the lowest figures in the entire country. The gap of $88,500 is absolutely enormous and reflects Georgia's sharp urban-rural economic divide. Hawaii, Honolulu County versus Hawaii County. Honolulu County on the island of Oahu leads Hawaii with a median household income of about $88,000, driven by tourism, military, and government jobs. Hawaii County, also known as the Big Island, has a median of about $62,000. The $26,000 gap is one of the smallest in the nation, partly because Hawaii only has 4 counties and the cost of living is high across all of them. Idaho, Ada County versus Camas County. Ada County, home to Boise, is Idaho's wealthiest, with a median household income of about $72,000. Camas County in central Idaho has a median of around $42,000. The $30,000 gap is moderate by national standards, but Idaho's rapid population growth is reshaping its economic landscape and widening disparities between urban and rural areas. Illinois, DuPage County versus Alexander County. DuPage County in the Chicago suburbs is Illinois' richest, with a median household income of about $96,000. Alexander County at the state's southern tip, where the Ohio and Mississippi rivers meet, has a median of only $26,500. The $69,500 gap tells the story of 2 very different Illinois: the prosperous Chicagoland area and the economically struggling rural South. Indiana, Hamilton County versus Crawford County. Hamilton County, north of Indianapolis, is Indiana's wealthiest, with a median household income of about $100,000. Crawford County in southern Indiana has a median of just $36,000. The $64,000 gap underscores the growing prosperity of the Indianapolis suburban ring compared to the economic struggles of Indiana's rural southern hill country. Iowa, Dallas County versus Decatur County. Dallas County west of Des Moines leads Iowa with a median household income of about $96,000, fueled by suburban growth and white-collar employment. Decatur County in southern Iowa has a median of around $38,000. The $58,000 gap is surprisingly large for a state often perceived as economically uniform, revealing that Iowa has its own version of the urban-rural divide. Kansas, Johnson County versus Elk County. Johnson County in the Kansas City metro area leads Kansas with a median household income of about $95,000. Elk County in the rural southeast has a median of around $36,000. The $59,000 gap shows that even in the heartland, the economic advantages of major metro areas far outstrip the opportunities available in small rural communities. Kentucky, Oldham County versus Owsley County. Oldham County, an affluent suburb of Louisville, leads Kentucky with a median household income of about $97,000. Owsley County, deep in Appalachian eastern Kentucky, has a median of just $22,000, making it one of the poorest counties in America. The gap of $75,000 illustrates the profound economic challenges that Appalachian communities continue to face despite decades of aid programs. Louisiana, Ascension Parish versus East Carroll Parish. Ascension Parish near Baton Rouge tops Louisiana's list with a median household income of roughly $78,000, buoyed by the petrochemical industry. East Carroll Parish in the northeastern Delta region scrapes by at just $19,000, among the lowest median incomes in the entire United States. The $59,000 gap is a sobering reminder of the deep poverty still present in Louisiana's rural parishes. Maine, Cumberland County versus Washington County. Cumberland County, home to Portland, leads Maine with a median household income of about $74,000. Washington County, along the Canadian border in the Downeast region, has a median of around $39,000. The $35,000 gap highlights Maine's economic split between its relatively prosperous southern coast and the isolated communities of its vast rural interior and far north. Maryland, Howard County versus Somerset County. Howard County, between Baltimore and Washington, D.C., is one of the richest counties in the entire nation, with a median household income of about $125,000. Somerset County on the eastern shore, however, has a median of just $36,000. Maryland's gap of $89,000 is among the largest in America, driven by the enormous federal government economy in the D.C. corridor. Massachusetts, Norfolk County versus Hampton County. Norfolk County, which includes affluent towns like Wellesley and Brookline, has a median household income of about $107,000. Hampton County in western Massachusetts, home to Springfield, comes in at around $52,000. The $55,000 gap underscores the economic dominance of the greater Boston area compared to the post-industrial cities of western Massachusetts. Michigan, Livingston County versus Lake County. Livingston County, northwest of Detroit, leads Michigan with a median household income of about $82,000. Lake County, in the rural western part of the state, has a median of just $32,000. The $50,000 gap illustrates how Michigan's auto industry suburbs still thrive, while many of its rural and formerly industrial communities continue to struggle economically. Minnesota, Carver County versus Monoman County. Carver County in the Minneapolis-St. Paul metro area leads Minnesota with a median household income of about $104,000. Monoman County in the Northwest, home to the White Earth Reservation, has a median of around $36,000. The $68,000 gap is a stark reminder that even in a high-income state like Minnesota, deep disparities exist between suburbs and reservation communities. Mississippi, Madison County versus Holmes County. Madison County near Jackson is Mississippi's wealthiest, at about $72,000 in median household income. Holmes County in the Delta has a median of just $18,500, which is among the very lowest in the entire United States. The $53,500 gap is especially striking, given that Mississippi is already the nation's poorest state overall. Even its richest county would be below average in many other states. Missouri, Platte County versus Shannon County. Platte County in the Kansas City metro area leads Missouri with a median household income of about $82,000. Shannon County in the rural Ozarks has a median of around $28,000. The $54,000 gap underscores Missouri's divide between its two major metro areas, Kansas City and St. Louis, and the economically struggling Ozark and Bootheel regions. Montana, Gallatin County versus Lincoln County. Gallatin County, home to Bozeman and a booming outdoor recreation economy, leads Montana with a median household income of about $70,000. Lincoln County, near the Idaho border, has a median of around $38,000. The $32,000 gap is growing as Montana's college towns and resort areas attract wealthy newcomers, while resource-dependent communities face economic stagnation. Nebraska, Sarpy County versus Loup County. Sarpy County in the Omaha metro area leads Nebraska with a median household income of about $86,000. Loup County in the remote Sandhills has a median of around $39,000. The $47,000 gap shows how Nebraska's urban centers along the eastern border enjoy far greater prosperity than its vast, sparsely populated western ranching communities. Nevada, Story County versus Mineral County. Story County east of Reno leads Nevada with a median household income of about $78,000, boosted by major industrial developments. Mineral County in the western part of the state has a median of around $36,000. The $42,000 gap reflects Nevada's economic concentration around Las Vegas and Reno, with many rural mining counties left behind. New Hampshire, Rockingham County versus Coos County. Rockingham County in southeastern New Hampshire leads the state with a median household income of about $93,000, benefiting from its proximity to Boston. Coos County in the far north, known for its forests and ski resorts, has a median of around $47,000. The $46,000 gap reveals a north-south divide in the Granite State that mirrors trends across New England. New Jersey, Hunterdon County versus Cumberland County. Hunterdon County in central New Jersey leads the Garden State with a median household income of approximately $117,000. Cumberland County in the state's rural southern region has a median of about $50,000. While the $67,000 gap is significant, it's worth noting that even New Jersey's poorest county has a higher median income than the richest counties in some southern states. New Mexico, Los Alamos County versus Luna County. Los Alamos County, home to the famous National Laboratory, leads New Mexico with a median household income of about $117,000, driven by highly paid scientific and engineering jobs. Luna County near the Mexican border has a median of just $24,000. The $93,000 gap is one of the largest in the nation and highlights the extreme economic isolation of New Mexico's border communities. New York, Nassau County versus Bronx County. New York County, which is Manhattan, surprisingly isn't the state's richest by median income. That title goes to Nassau County on Long Island, with a median household income of about $120,000. Bronx County in New York City is the state's poorest at around $40,000. The $80,000 gap exists between two places, separated by just a short train ride, making it one of the most geographically concentrated wealth divides in America. North Carolina, Wake County versus Robeson County. Wake County, home to Raleigh and the Research Triangle, leads North Carolina with a median household income of about $83,000. Robeson County in the southeastern part of the state, home to the Lumbee tribe, has a median of just $31,000. The $52,000 gap reflects the explosive tech-driven growth in the Triangle region versus the persistent poverty in the state's rural southeast. North Dakota, Williams County versus Sioux County. Williams County in northwestern North Dakota, at the heart of the oil boom, leads the state with a median household income of about $85,000. Sioux County, home to the Standing Rock Reservation, has a median of around $30,000. The $55,000 gap tells the story of North Dakota's oil wealth existing alongside deep poverty in Native American communities just miles away. Ohio, Delaware County versus Athens County. Delaware County north of Columbus is Ohio's wealthiest, with a median household income of about $108,000. It's one of the fastest-growing counties in the Midwest. On the other end, Athens County, a college town in Appalachian, Ohio, has a median of only $32,000. The $76,000 gap mirrors Ohio's broader story of thriving suburbs versus struggling Appalachian and Rust Belt communities. Oklahoma, Canadian County versus Pushmataha County. Canadian County in the Oklahoma City metro area leads the state with a median household income of about $78,000. Pushmataha County in the rural southeast has a median of around $30,000. The $48,000 gap highlights the divide between Oklahoma's energy-driven metro economies and its struggling rural communities in the Ouachita Mountain region. Oregon, Washington County versus Wheeler County. Washington County, part of Portland's tech corridor known as the Silicon Forest, leads Oregon with a median household income of about $86,000. Wheeler County in the remote eastern part of the state has a median of around $35,000. The $51,000 gap reflects Oregon's sharp economic divide between its booming western metro areas and the sparsely populated high desert communities to the east. Pennsylvania, Chester County versus Cameron County. Chester County in the Philadelphia suburbs shines as Pennsylvania's richest, with a median household income of about $110,000. Cameron County in the rural northern mountains has a median of just $37,000. The $73,000 gap speaks to a recurring American theme: prosperous metro suburbs thriving, while rural communities with declining industries fall further behind. Rhode Island, Washington County versus Providence County. Washington County in southern Rhode Island, known for its scenic coastline and university community, leads the state with a median household income of about $85,000. Providence County, which includes the capital city, has a median of around $55,000. The $30,000 gap is one of the smallest in the nation, reflecting Rhode Island's tiny geography. The entire state is smaller than many individual counties elsewhere. South Carolina, Beaufort County versus Allendale County. Beaufort County, home to Hilton Head Island and a thriving retirement and tourism economy, leads South Carolina with a median household income of about $72,000. Allendale County in the rural Lowcountry has a median of just $23,000. The $49,000 gap reflects the stark divide between South Carolina's booming coastal communities and its deeply impoverished rural interior. South Dakota, Lincoln County versus Ziebach County. Lincoln County near Sioux Falls leads South Dakota with a median household income of about $90,000, driven by the booming Sioux Falls economy. Ziebach County, home to the Cheyenne River Reservation, has a median of just $26,000. The $64,000 gap highlights the severe economic challenges on Native American reservations, where poverty rates often exceed 40%. Tennessee, Williamson County versus Hancock County. Williamson County, south of Nashville, is Tennessee's richest, with a median household income of about $110,000, fueled by Nashville's booming economy. Hancock County in the remote Appalachian Northeast has a median of just $24,000. The $86,000 gap is one of the largest in the South and highlights the explosive wealth in the Nashville metro area compared to struggling mountain communities. Texas, Collin County versus Starr County. Collin County in the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex is Texas's richest, with a median household income of around $104,000. Starr County along the Mexican border in the Rio Grande Valley has a median of just $27,000. The $77,000 gap reflects the vast economic diversity of the Lone Star State, from booming tech corridors to struggling border communities. Utah, Morgan County versus San Juan County. Morgan County, northeast of Salt Lake City, leads Utah with a median household income of about $92,000. San Juan County, in the state's southeastern corner, which includes portions of the Navajo Nation, has a median of around $38,000. The $54,000 gap shows how even in Utah, one of America's fastest-growing states, remote tribal and rural communities lag far behind. Vermont, Chittenden County versus Essex County. Chittenden County, home to Burlington and the state's largest employers, leads Vermont with a median household income of about $76,000. Essex County in the rural Northeast Kingdom has a median of around $42,000. The $34,000 gap is relatively modest, but in Vermont's small-scale economy, even this difference has a significant impact on quality of life. Virginia, Loudoun County versus Lee County. Loudoun County in Northern Virginia is often cited as the richest county in the entire United States, with a median household income of about $147,000. Lee County in Virginia's far southwestern tip, deep in Appalachia, has a median of just $31,000. The jaw-dropping $116,000 gap is the largest of any state in America and tells a powerful story about the wealth concentrated around Washington, D.C. Washington, King County versus Ferry County. King County, home to Seattle and headquarters of major tech companies, leads Washington state with a median household income of about $106,000. Ferry County, in the remote northeast corner of the state, has a median of just $34,000. The $72,000 gap reflects the incredible tech wealth concentrated in the Puget Sound region versus the isolation and limited opportunities in Washington's rural eastern counties. West Virginia, Jefferson County versus McDowell County. Jefferson County in West Virginia's eastern panhandle, a commuter area for Washington, D.C., leads the state at about $76,000. McDowell County in the southern coal fields has a median of just $22,000 and is consistently ranked among the poorest counties in America. The $54,000 gap is especially meaningful in a state that already ranks near the bottom in overall median income. Wisconsin, Waukesha County versus Menominee County. Waukesha County west of Milwaukee leads Wisconsin with a median household income of about $90,000. Menominee County, coextensive with the Menominee Indian Reservation, has a median of around $36,000. The $54,000 gap is another example of the recurring pattern seen across the country. Affluent metro suburbs juxtaposed with struggling reservation communities in the same state. Wyoming, Teton County versus Hot Springs County. Teton County, home to Jackson Hole and some of the wealthiest individuals in America, leads Wyoming with a median household income of about $97,000, though average incomes there are far higher. Hot Springs County has a median of around $44,000. The $53,000 gap only tells part of the story, as Teton County's wealth is heavily concentrated among ultra-high net worth residents. The biggest wealth gaps by state. So which states have the biggest wealth gaps between their richest and poorest counties? Virginia takes the crown with a gap of $116,000, followed by California and New Mexico tied at $93,000, Maryland at $89,000, Georgia at $88,500, Colorado at $87,500, and Tennessee at $86,000. These states all share a common pattern: extremely wealthy suburban counties near major cities or institutions, alongside deeply impoverished rural areas. The smallest wealth gaps by state. On the other end, some states have relatively modest gaps between their richest and poorest counties. Delaware's gap is about $20,000, Hawaii's is about $26,000, and Rhode Island's is about $30,000. These are all small states with very few counties. However, a smaller gap doesn't always mean prosperity. Sometimes it means the whole state is relatively poor, or that wealth is more evenly but modestly distributed. The poorest counties in America. Several counties across America have median household incomes below $20,000 a year. Holmes County, Mississippi, at $18,500, East Carroll Parish, Louisiana, at $19,000, and Buffalo County, South Dakota, at $17,500, are among the poorest places in the nation. These communities face limited job opportunities, population decline, and inadequate infrastructure that make economic recovery incredibly difficult. The wealthiest counties in America. America's richest counties are overwhelmingly clustered around Washington, D.C., and major tech hubs. Loudoun County, Virginia, leads at $147,000, followed by Marin County, California, at $131,000, Howard County, Maryland, at $125,000, Nassau County, New York, at $120,000, and Douglas County, Colorado, at $117,000. Federal spending, tech, and finance drive these astronomical incomes. Conclusion: what the wealth gap means. The wealth gap between the richest and poorest counties in America is staggering. and it exists in every single state. From Virginia's $116,000 gap to the crushing poverty of Mississippi's Delta counties, these numbers reveal the uneven economic landscape of the United States. Whether driven by tech booms, government spending, or the decline of rural industries, these disparities shape the lives of millions of Americans. All figures in this video are approximate, based on the most recent Census Bureau estimates. If this video surprised you, hit subscribe and let us know in the comments which state shocked you the most.